when we talk about the smart factor is how we can ensure the real-time data, the automated insights, some responsive workflows, how they are taken into account. And it's not just about digitizing the process, it's about rethinking them to be faster, more consistent, and scalable across sites.
Today, I am excited to welcome Nikhil Pal to the show. Now, today we had a really fun topic. It's a topic that we haven't explored a whole lot, I don't think, over the years. But it's this whole idea of the so-called smart factory, and so Nikhil has a lot of experience with operational excellence and lean, but also this smart factory idea. And so, really, today on the show we talk about sort of how all of these different, I'll call it movements, if you will. How they can and arguably should cooperate with one another. So we get into the whole idea of first of all, what do we mean when we talk about a smart factory? Is sensors everywhere? What is it? What does this mean? And then we just kind of get into the role that this sort of information that we can get from these sensors and these different aspects of a smart factory, how they play into lean. And we get into some really interesting stuff like, will people even be needed down the road and that sort of thing? And the short answer is, in Nikhil's opinion, yes, people are always going to be needed. So don't worry, the robots aren't going to quite take over just yet. So it was a really fun episode. I enjoyed it a lot. Show notes can be found over at gembapodcast.com. Just look for episode 590. Again, gembapodcast.com and look for episode 590. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to the show. Nikhil, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you, Ron?
Doing great. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada.
Oh, okay. Beautiful part of country of Canada. I was actually, I don't know how many people know this, I was actually born in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So my father was a professor at the University of Manitoba for many years, and but then I grew up in the States mostly. But yeah, we would spend the summers with my dad up in Canada. So I've been to Toronto, and we would go to what they call it, Lake of the Woods there in Ontario. I don't know exactly what lakes it was, but it was so beautiful to go camping and fishing there in Ontario. So it's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, it is actually. So I'm still exploring. I think so. This is the world's second largest country in terms of the land mass.
Yeah.
So plenty of places to explore, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, I know you know how the show goes. We like to begin with our guests sharing a quote. So do you have one?
Yeah, I have one, and this is an old-time quote I learned during my in bachelor's as well as in MBA. It's from Deming. So without data, you are just another person with an opinion. So this actually quote, it guided much of my work in Lean Six Sigma and Operation Excellence, and in every lean transformation I have led. So whether it is related to electronics manufacturing or maybe pharma, currently in which I'm working now. So leaders, engineers, operators, everyone has their perspective, but what anchors everyone together is the data.
Yeah. Another variation of that quote that I love is in God we trust, all others bring data.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us how you got involved in all this continuous improvement stuff and what you're up to these days.
Actually, so I started my career with the company called Jabil. So it was a contract manufacturing
Jabil,
company.
I know them well.
Yeah. So it was back in India. That time I was working for the industrial engineering department, and that is where it was my first exposure with continuous improvement. Because as an industrial engineer, we were tasked to do the layout studies, headcount planning, machine planning, and that's where we were continuously driving the improvement there to make the factory more efficient. So that is a place where I got first exposure to the continuous improvement. Following that, I actually few years later I started my career directly into the teaching Lean Six Sigma. So more like becoming the plant lean manager, that kind of role. And from there, during the pandemic, I moved into the healthcare field. And right now, currently, I'm working with Roche. So Roche is like the world's kind of second largest pharmaceutical company. So
Mm-hmm.
in which I am part of the group which actually handles the external manufacturing. So that's where I'm driving the continuous improvement practices.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, I'm really excited for the topic today because I don't think it's something that we've explored a whole lot over the years on the show, but really sort of talking about the idea of operational excellence in context of what some people would call the smart factory. So maybe we just start with some definitions. When we talk about like the phrase smart factory, like what are you talking about? What do we mean when we say a smart factory?
So I always think about smart factory as an entity, or it's at a factory where we are actually making a very good use of data. We are driving the improvement. We are doing the problem solving with keeping the data in the mind. And when we talk about the smart factory is how we can ensure the real time data, the automated insights, some responsive workflows, how they are taken into account. And it's not just about digitizing the process, it's about rethinking them to be faster, more consistent, and scalable across sites. So I'm seeing this kind of trend also in the industries. Most of the companies are moving toward that smart factory. And one of the thought I had, and I actually navigated my career also towards that, is why don't our traditional lean people or the continuous improvement coach can take up this initiative. So this is a kind of one career turn which I have actually challenged myself to take, to become a continuous improvement coach and drive the factory towards the smart factory. Instead of we have typical consultant we hire from outside, and then they give us a lot of things to do.
Okay, so talk a little bit about the role or how you see it as it pertains to operational excellence in the context of a smart factory. So, like, what does it look like when we're trying to continuously improve in the so-called smart factory?
So one of the example is our daily tier meeting. Let's take an example. So daily tier meeting, what we traditionally we have whiteboards where we put all the KPIs, and we maybe most of the time we used to write down green markup and red markup and using that. So over the time, because of the complexity of the business, now we have evolved. Instead of just using the plain whiteboard, we have some digital dashboard along with that whiteboard. So there we are actually using the real-time data. We are able to see much more into detail what happened, and that's where we are using these digital dashboards to drive this tier meeting. So that actually brought visibility, not just one shift or a site, but also we can see kind of in a network. So it was in this case the operation excellence or the continuous improvement was not left behind, but we used that to build this foundation actually, where we have the now digital data to make the decision making.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say we're in a Jabil factory and they're building, I don't know, cell phones. I just pick a random topic here, and I used to work at Nokia, so I know very well that Jabil also built a lot of cell phones back in the day, at least for us. So they're buzzing off hundreds of cell phones per hour on this Jabil assembly line. So is it just really as straightforward as you can look up on the board and you see how many phones we made, how many were good, how many were bad? Is that what we were talking about? Or is there maybe deeper analytics than just how many we're making?
So actually it's kind of both. So maybe at the supervisor level, we don't need that much detailed information. We just need, as a supervisor, as a production supervisor, I just want to know what is happening in my shift, how many are the good pieces, how many are the rejects, how many is the balance to go. For that kind of information,
yeah.
For the supervisor and the operator level is enough. But we have engineering team. We may want to look into detail what happened, what are the recurring issues that is happening. Do we have some real-time Pareto that we at the end of the shift, we can review together with the next shift handover, that we tell them in the previous shift. These were some of the issues that we encountered. So it's kind of mix of both, depends on what are the need of the business. But this is what I see nowadays the business are headed towards. So we want to have much more detailed analytics available on the hand to make some better decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember early in my career, I worked at Motorola and then Nokia building cell phones. And back then, many times we were just like literally counting, how many parts were coming off the end of the line, and you had a big whiteboard and you would just write how many were made, how many were defective. And, eventually, quickly, we did get some more automation. But I'm wondering, like, what benefit do you see these smart factories having over the old traditional way of literally counting what you're making and writing it on a whiteboard?
I see the difference is particularly first in terms of the workforce which is entering. So if you compare the workforce which we had 10, 15 years back in that, and compare it with today's one, where we have a lot of Gen Z people also working in the shop floor. So there is also a big difference. So they are already, kind of tech savvy,
Yeah.
and they kind of feel outdated when they see the factory is just using, some simple
Whiteboard.
things.
Yeah.
Whiteboards. Yeah. Even though most of the cases, I would say they are still effective actually.
Yeah.
Only thing is that, when the data only can tell you is more like, kind of history based. It can tell you in the past how many times we have the issues happen, and also it can maybe sometimes can give you the better prediction.
Yeah.
So that's one of the thing we are using Six Sigma also there to have a real time control charts to, predict if something wrong, something wrong going to happen in
Now,
that sense.
To play sort of like a devil's advocate, though, on the other hand, like I have seen, over the years, some instances where there's a so-called smart factory and everything's sort of being, automatically counted and calculated for you. And sometimes it gets ignored, right? And but I remember back in my early career, when we're like gathering around and you're writing it on a whiteboard, no one's ignoring it, right? Like I would say we were almost more invested back then, I sense, than we are sometimes today when we're relying on technology to do everything for us. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any truth to the idea that human beings might sort of like disconnect a little bit when everything is being sort of calculated and tabulated for you? What do you think?
So this is typically I have seen will happen when there is a lack of accountability, or we can say we don't have the true culture or the true spirit of continuous improvement.
Yeah.
In that case, the dashboards are just like our wall paintings only. So more like a show,
wallpaper, right? Yeah.
More to impress the customers. See, we have all this technology, but we are not making use of them. So I think that's where the case is. We need to have a culture of problem solving. These dashboards are highlighting the basic fundamental thing, which is like what went wrong.
Yeah.
And we have to put up a process in place to tackle if any time something went wrong, what we are supposed to do. So what is the reaction plan? What is that problem solving thing? So that is something, that piece when is missing, that's where they just become like a wallpaper only.
Yeah. So, okay, well, what do you see as some of the best practices then out there for companies that are doing it well, using this digital, the power of the digital sort of platform and coupling it with strong continuous improvement behaviors? Like, what are some of the things and some of the benefits that you're seeing?
I think, so currently I will just share an example from the pharmaceutical world. So because since I have worked in electronics and pharmaceutical, they are both in a way are very different, but when we talk about continuous improvement, they are kind of the same. So one of my favorite topic is the SMART, single minute exchange of files, how we reduce the changeover time.
Yeah.
And especially when in the pharma, where we have to do a lot of time cleaning and everything, sterilization before we can start the next batch. So we can lose maybe many days in that process. So nowadays I'm seeing the sites, one of the example is that, we have a customized app where we have actually configured the checklist for this entire SMART process, and also with the time against that. So how much time we should be taking. Anytime we are taking more than that, so it kinds of alert the operator also that we are exceeding it. We have to go back and maybe put some resources to get back on the schedule. So these are some customized apps which actually are right now a lot of manufacturing companies are using apart from traditional dashboards. So these are some of the manufacturing apps which are being used currently in the manufacturing industries to improve the productivity, which could be related to changeover time reduction, maybe related to improving the output per hour. So these are the things. Traditional dashboards, I think they were still there. I know previously, many companies, we still have big boards in the assembly line. How many cars has been done so far? How many are okay? How many are rejects? So these basics were still there. But now because of this AI and these small applications which we can develop for customized use case. This is actually impacting manufacturing in a very good way.
How do you roll this out more from like a human behavioral perspective, with the operator working on a machine knows that nothing is hidden and there could be a lot of pressure, because hey, the minute we slip up, the AI robots yelling at us and our bosses down here and all the rest of it. So you in a way, you can't hide, right? Not that you could 20 years ago, you probably still couldn't, but you especially can't now, right? Because this system is constantly monitoring every second of the day. So how do you sort of handle that from a change management perspective with the operator who may be stressed out by that?
So I think the key is to build from ground up. So when we develop this kind of tools or application, it's very important to involve the operators and their feedback at that point. So we understand what is the pain point that we want to solve for them. So that's the thing. Instead of I have fancy idea in mind and I want to implement in the shop floor, it will not work that way.
Yeah.
I need to go to the shop floor, understand the problem.
Yeah.
How, discuss with the operator. Are you seeing this kind of problems? Are you seeing this kind of issues? And how much does it impact? And take that as a problem and then build some application. Then I think they will be more proactively, instead of hiding, they will be maybe providing the more ideas what we can do differently.
Yeah, they're part of the solution versus part of the problem, right? Yeah. Maybe that's a good way of looking at it. It's like, no, you're not the problem. You're part of the solution, and we work together. So really, that's a lovely way of looking at it. So I'm wondering then, let's talk a little bit about this whole idea of these digital tools and then lean fundamentals. How do you get these two things to sort of harmonize with one another? And, and again, we're not trying to replace anything. We're not trying to replace lean. In fact, lean is a very important part of this whole idea. So talk a little bit about that.
So I don't think lean is going to be replaced also, because all this current digital transformation, what is there in the market, it is just part of the continuous improvement.
Yeah.
How we used to build 100 years back and how we are building today, the things have evolved. So that actually shows the continuous improvement, and it's going to be evolving. So lean is going to stay. So now the thing for the companies become much more important is to build that continuous improvement culture. Without that, then they cannot adopt the new technology also. Yeah. Otherwise, it will be some outside project which people will not be that much engaged with. So that's where it's very important to have the lean culture in the company and making sure everyone is part of the change journey. And we have to evolve continuously, because the things are going to change. Geopolitical situation is going to change. The way we are producing the goods is going to change. The consumer are going to change. So that is the thing, actually.
Yeah. Everything's always changing, right? That's one constant of our world, change.
Yeah. So without lean, how to adapt to the change?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, talk a little bit about maybe some of the common pitfalls that you've seen when companies try to go, this whole idea of digital, in respect to operational excellence and continuous improvement. Like, have you seen any sort of pitfalls or mistakes that have been made that you've learned from?
So I have seen, some of the common examples are, the top leadership decided, okay, we want to make our operations digital. Okay, so let's hire a company or consultants who will tell us what we need. Okay, based on that, we will start developing something and then we will implement. The problem happens there is, we don't get the same buy-in from across the different level of the organization. And that is the thing when we want to implement the digital change, but the bottom line people are not that much involved, so they are not able to participate in that. Then again, this change doesn't give the benefits what the companies had anticipated in the beginning. So this is what I've been seeing again and again. Many times the companies are making the same mistakes. They just rely on outside people to advise them how to do that. They will buy some expensive technology without even considering, do we really need it or not? but it just because we want to look fancy, it will give us good reputation in the market. That's where it fails actually.
So a question my good friend Mark Graben often asks people is if you yourself have a so-called favorite mistake that you have made over the years. Like, has there been something that you did and it was like, oh, and after you realized that was bad, but then maybe it turned out good because you were able to sort of turn it around and learn from it. Can you think of anything like that for you, like personally?
I think one common thing I have seen, or it happened to me actually, earlier part of my career also, is like not grasping the current situation or not, mapping the process correctly.
Yeah.
So when we don't map the current state properly and we introduce a change, it could be digital or it could be anything, then it's not going to work, and that immediately it will be fall apart. So that's where again we have to go back and to the board and then remap again and then think differently. So
Yeah.
this is what I have seen, and I'm seeing from some of the examples which is happening in in the companies. They don't focus on grasping the current state properly. They
Yeah.
rush into implementing the change, and then the blunders happen.
Yeah. Our friend Mike Rother is shaking his head. Yes. Yes. Grasp the current condition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Very important. It's so easy to you see that things aren't clearly operating as well as they could. And so I think you go into it with good intention sometimes of, well, let's fix it. Let's make that better. But to your point, if you don't deeply understand how this thing is operating, you may not actually know if you really made it better or if it was just chance or luck, right? That you made it better. So yeah, it's also frustrating though, right? Because you want to get on with it, right? You want to make things better. That's what we do. But yeah, we have to take a step back and grasp the current condition before we worry about moving forward.
And oftentimes because of the deadlines pressure, because this digital project comes with a deadline. So we have 6 months, 8 months to implement, and that's where teams are just rushing into, okay, let's map whatever we have and then go back and then implement the digital solution. And nowadays, the problem is that there is so much customization. It's very difficult to standardize everything, So that's another challenge.
Yeah.
We want everything to be standardized in our operations, but due to the complexity of the product and the process, things are customized accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, hey, maybe to wrap things up, I'm wondering if you have any advice that you would like to give to the continuous improvement leaders out there listening, and perhaps they want to begin exploring or integrating the so-called smart technologies into their operational excellence roadmaps. Like, do you have any sort of advice for them?
Yeah. So I think the very first thing is to start with the problems, not with the products. Focus on value stream mapping, identify where are the bottleneck, and ask, could this be solved faster with the right tool, and what kind of right tool? And also engage the stakeholders early, especially IT when we talk about the digital technologies. So, but keep the ownerships within the operations. Many digital transformation fail because they are treated as technical upgrades rather than process redesigns.
Ooh,
And,
say that again. Say that again. Now it's really good.
Yeah, so I mean to say, like, many digital transformation fail because they are treated as like technical upgrades. So we just say maybe, oh, I'm just upgrading some of the sensors in the equipment, but rather than the overall process design, because now I have better sensors, I can get more data out of it, and then I can maybe redo my process again, and I can do some more improvement there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So in a way, it's better to say it's not about the data. It's about the problems, and allowing the data then to help us expose the problems or expose the opportunities for improvement. Right. But you're right. I mean, sometimes you get a new toy, right? And you want to just deploy it everywhere, and you have these beautiful dashboards all over the place, but no one's doing anything with it, right? And it looks fancy, but it's not really driving improvement.
And the last point is, don't forget the culture. Smart factory needs a smart workforce, which is curious and adaptive, and in modern day context are data literate. And continuous improvement leaders has to lead that mindset shift.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Well, hey, if folks wanted to connect with you, Nikhil, like what's the best way? Are you in LinkedIn or what's the best way to connect?
Yeah, so I'm available on LinkedIn. They can search me as Nikhil Pal and they can find me on LinkedIn. And I also have my smart YouTube channel, which I just started a few months back.
Nice.
It's called Process Masters. And this one I have to give to you, Ron. My logo is very much inspired with the Gemba Academy.
Oh, okay, very good. I have to go. I haven't seen it yet. So, well, everybody, we'll link both your YouTube and all your other links up on the show notes. So everybody, scroll down and go like the YouTube page, everybody.
Yeah.
So now I'm excited to go check it out. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to gembaacademy.com.